the situation in Syria. I would be lying if I would not saying I am glad that finally the other side won the stage after a long period of suppression, and I would be lying if I would not be saying that here I'm going to recognize exactly the Judah versus Jesus protocol as initially the story originating from Middle Eastern region, where in substance the entire protocol emerges into increased fight of personalities. And today I would go to recognize as far as a conflict between our solar system, reflecting conflict between a protocol solar system or sun versus protocol Saturn, or protocol of blue sun. We can't call Saturn another sun because that energy does not produce warmth, and certainly does not produce that much of a light as well, or daylight. It would be more the conditions there would be more as night light. I really can't understand that much. It would be categorized much more in the moonlight rather than sunlight. I really can't understand the long-term adoration of a certain percentage of planetary population with such event, but clearly in 2 millenniums of human history, that is what somehow prevailed after death of Alexander, and with emergence of Roman imperialism at the point of westernization of the entire ancient history. Before it has become increased takeover by Babylonian protocol, which in substance worship moon, or I would rather say Saturn, which happens very much under the protocol basically conflicting nature of our planetary identity, of certain population of our planetary identity, when it comes to what is to be understood as a centerpiece. Is it going to be understood as a centerpiece Saturn or solar system? I will understand that many people would be found caught in this entire affair. And it is equally peculiar that all of the population under Muslim religion are being referred as Muslim, while most of them clearly are not at all slim. Also, one will notice a profound presence of English language within the entire rhetoric, and would question what was the role of, how far the role of English monarchy was of all of the times, was actually affecting rewriting of human history over the entire ancient region of previous times, especially on Mediterranean region and Middle Eastern region. It has been already established that to great extent they have rewritten the entire Hellenistic history and the entire Greek history and history of ancient Macedonia, which today exists much more in the clouds, as I have said many times, rather than grounded. There is absolutely no clear narrative about the actual history of that region. Somehow the history books start being more serious at the point of Roman imperialism onwards, where actually starts increasing influence of religion, and question mark what exactly that religion is worshipping to present days. We all know that there was happening hunting of witches, treating women as the second place citizen, and very much driving increasingly to worshipping Baphomet, or worshipping the raging bull, as a matter of some kind of secret society, and going away with, as we understand today, basically worshipping Saturn and pledging, therefore, association or alliance with Saturn as a sun rather than our sun as a solar system platform. I'm going to find, therefore, that being the foundation to the entire political polarization, or that is religious polarization as well in the region, including obviously very much the shape of human body or human identity rather than religious formation, which is not exactly how babies get born. They don't get born with religion written on their forehead. They get born as a bodies, as a human body, and then everything else come later. Very often as a manipulative approach, recruiting people in certain belief system that later on become extremely politicized and become basically supportive to certain various regimes, which end up supporting certain individuals, and they end up driving the region or the nation and the region in certain direction, but at some point we start talking about end of the days and things like that. Such centralization of powers with unclear direction and unclear declared identity of the planet or identity of or discussing what has been worshipped, but rather being used the concept of secret society, cannot be therefore credit-worthy today, cannot be going away with higher positions, higher right to higher arbitrage, or having some kind of respectful or promising positions, especially if in such context we would be rather talking about end of the days. Everything is on stake, and I continue to question, to wonder how far people continue to be inclined to take risks when it comes to the future leadership. In times like this, I wouldn't agree that electing next American president a masonry protocol, a mason who is openly worshipping God as God Saturn, and openly therefore driving against our solar system, against the position Earth, planet of solar system, and is promoting Hell protocol and helium as the God level of the planet. I can't understand how can people choose to elect such president when everything in such context become on stake. Today, we cannot polarize anymore on the substance of religion without clarifying what exactly that religion is doing, what exactly that religion is promoting, and how that happens. That we have now everything summarizing today in biopolarization all of a sudden, and then religions are still validated, where we are rather at the bio discussion today, who is slim and who is not slim. All of a sudden, it is about noticing who is slim and who is not slim. And then we still talk about religion. And then we still talk about Muslim or Muslim religion, for example, where you have people that are not exactly all slim under that religion. What that means that they have been in all of the times treated as second-hand citizens. That explains Saddam regime of Syria, and explain why that many people have been suffocated and tormented and tortured under such regimes, which obviously to some kind of bio differentiation. Today we have to see all of that summing up on the bio-conflicting nature. In that context, I'm going to say I'm very glad how the situation in Syria is developing. And in that context, of course, I'm going to question the situation elsewhere on the planet, across the entire planetary political spectrum. We have situation on the planet. We have a serious situation. It is, I have said many times, in question basically defending the planet. I have declared my work for quite some time as a planetary defense protocol. I have been calling upon the historic heritage of accomplished civilizational development, although we all agree it was not exactly development that was happening on this planet, but rather some kind of escalation on more and more monstrous practices that in every next period we're getting closer and closer on pedestal, declaring increasingly as a mainstream cultural value system, what to most of us is absolutely unacceptable. People on this planet continue to trade off either to be employed on the mainstream platform or to stay in the shadows and be further compromised. Most of the people on the planet continue to be cornered with decision making that increasingly becomes harder and harder. We are not moving in the right direction, and I will need to say that and declare that for the entire planet. We as a planet are not moving in the right direction as a civilization. And I'm very sure I'm not the only one that is going to notice that. But I might have been bringing forward the most critical summary, the most critical questions and issues we need to talk about. In that context, I'm going to enclose again millenniums and more of the worshipping of Jesus bloodline, where we will need to notice there is Judah parallel surviving and resisting and being much more accepted in the West than Jesus himself. Jesus is Jesus is being worshipped as dead body. Judah is going away with establishing of Judaism as a leading platform of the entire Western society, leading platform in America, and continuing to be with the latest presidential election in America, the increase even more of a present, even more of a leading force, Judaism rather than Jesus, Judaism. Now that is where I'm going to notice again the two conflicting lines. Our sun versus Saturn being treated as a sun. Saturn is not sun. Saturn is a planet. Saturn does not qualify for a sun, does not have planets orbiting around Saturn, because obviously it is in question the size of that ball or whatever, and it is also in question certainly the size that will need to have enough magnetic energy to attract the surrounding planets around in its own orbit. The size, of course, the mass of the body is vital here. But the sun, I mean, we talk about star system as planetary event here. Our sun is a star. Our sun is something that you can see from large distances. It is a mega star. Our sun is a mega capacity star that is supporting life on our planet. Saturn does not support life on our planet. Is there anything more to be said here? What is happening that we, as one of the planets of our sun, of our solar system, are supporting Saturn as well. In other words, our sun is supporting Saturn as well. Saturn is not supporting planet. Saturn is consuming, planet of consumption, not planet of shining or planet of supporting life. Saturn is not life supporting planet.